Okay, today we are going to learn how to thread the machine, secure the bobbin or thread the bobbin in the bobbin area, and we're going to learn how to make a seam sample. So the first thing you do when you come to the machine is first turn it on with the light power switch, and then you are going to check the dials. The pressure dial should be 6, the tension dial should be 4, the stitch width dial should be at 0. You might not be able to see it, but it's a 0. And the stitch length dial is at 4. You just turn the knobs to be at the right one. Make sure always that the stitch selector is at straight stitch. It's at 2.5 straight. So if you have to turn it, you can turn it to the dial that it needs to be on, and then make sure that that inner dial is on 0. Because when you change the stitch selector, it moves that. The bobbin winder should be up, and then the thread take-up lever should be in the up position. If it's hidden, you just use your hand wheel, turn it towards you, and it comes up. Okay, the next step is to put our spool of thread on the spool pin. If you find a jagged edge, just rub your fingers on it. If you find an edge that's rough, this one seems okay, then you can put that side, whether it's this one or this one, closest to the machine so it doesn't get caught. I think this one's safe either way. Okay, so now you're going to hold the thread with 2 fingers. You're going to push that cap down. You're going to go under the first one, over the next thread guide, and you can see that there's thread guides with arrows. So follow the arrows around the tension dial, up above, to the right, to the left. You're going around the thread take-up lever, which is right there, and you should be able to see the thread in that area. Then you're going to go down. Again, it goes in there. There's a hook above the needle. And then at that point, make sure you have enough thread, and then you're going to drop your presser foot down. We drop the presser foot down so that we have that white bar behind the needle. You're going to make a fresh cut with your shears so that it's easy to thread. And then you're just going to take it from the front to the back. And that's the eye of the needle, that little hole. If you have trouble threading that eye, sometimes people have difficulties with that, all you're going to do is just use your bobbin cover. There's a magnifying glass, and you can try to thread it that way. The thread around the needle should not be wrapped around it. It should go straight to the back. Raise your presser foot up, and then you just put it in the slit. There's a tiny slit between the presser foot. And then if I can pull it like this behind it, that means I did a good job. It's right. Okay, so now I have threaded the machine properly. The next step is to wind our bobbin. Okay, so I think, I don't know that this one fits. Okay, so now that we have the machine threaded, we are going to wind our bobbin. This is, fortunately, only something we have to do once. So, until the thread runs out. You're going to it's already threaded, you're going to run the thread over this hook right here, the thread guide there. You're going to wrap it around the bobbin about 2 or 3 times. 1, 2, 3. If you have a lot of thread like mine, just use your shears to cut it. It's okay to have a little like that, because once you start winding, it's going to wrap into that. You're going to push it in the down position. We're going to make sure our presser foot is down on the floor, and it is, it has an angle. And you're going to put your finger ready in case it pops off. And now that I push this bobbin winder in the down position, it's going to tell the machine to wind here instead of down here where the needle is. Okay, so let's use that one. So then you're just going to wind it. You can wind it until it's full, since we're going to be sharing it between classes. You don't really have to have your finger there. Sometimes they're old, so they kind of pop off, but this is fine. And you're just going to keep winding until it stops. You could probably cut it off at that point, but that's okay.
Go.
Okay, so at that point, it is full. You're going to pull it off. If you have an end like that, just snip it off with the shears. Okay, and then you have your bobbin wound. You might have 2 edges, but that's the one that keeps rolling is the one. Okay, so And now that goes, the thread goes between our pressure foot, the split. We have our bobbin. This part is the hard part to see because you just have to look at your machine. It's even hard to show that. I'll show with a pin. There's basically a metal part down here where you can see that there's a slit. There's a metal, and then there's a slit. We're going to have to get the thread in there, and this is probably the trickiest part of the whole machine. And hold ready. We're going to drop our bobbin with the H up into the case. Then what we're going to do is, if you can see, there's a little arrow there. You're going to put your finger, your pointer finger on the left side, and then you're going to push the thread in that slit and to the left. You can kind of hear a click. I don't know if you heard it. And then when you lift it, it's connected. Let's show that again.
Go.
Okay, so then we dropped it in there. We're going to put our finger on the bobbin, our pointer finger, and then you're going to take the thread, push it in the slit, and take it to the left. And then the way to check it is to lift it from the right, and see how it's connected? That's correct. Okay, then we can just hold it. Hold the left side like this. Hold it tight. And then use your hand wheel to bring the thread from the bobbin up. You're going to pull on that left thread, and it should work. Sometimes, see how I grabbed it? That's correct. Then what I like to do is I like to run scissors, something, shears, seam gauge, whatever you have, between the presser foot and the machine, and that's what brought it up. So now, instead of having one on the top and one on the bottom, I have two threads between the presser foot and the slide plate. And then you're just going to put the bobbin cover back on. Now, how do you find out that you did it correctly? You use a scrap of material, and you're just going to run it one time through. You can line it up on the 15 or 10 if you want to, just to practice making a straight seam. You're just going to put it right under on the edge. You're going to use your foot pedal, and you're going to start to sew. Oops, I forgot to push the bobbin winder up. That's fine. Okay, ready? I just went forward. I'm going to back stitch, forward, 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 and then come to the end of the material, raise the needle, and pull it all the way out here, and then cut the thread out here. So if you cut the thread here, the eye of the needle, you'll lose it, and you have to thread it again. Let's look at that. Does it look nice? Yep, front and back look good. That's perfect. So you threaded the machine correctly. You can pause.